Welcome to the St. Canard Files, the Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and once again, I'm here with my gaming boys, Kevin and Jose, and Oscar may show up late once again. How's it going, guys?
Good.
I'm well. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. Kevin, you're with me over here on the east coast, but in the south, and you weren't affected by the hurricane, right?
No, we made it. We made it out with no issues over here. We are good out here in Charlotte. It's a lot of rain. There was a lot of rain during the week, but other than that, we're good.
Yeah, we had a lot of rain too, man. How's the weather out there in Cali, Jose?
Sunny and warm.
Lucky you, huh? Yeah, it's still raining over here. It's been raining today too here in the south, for me in Georgia. Yeah, man. But guys, today we get to talk about a console that's very, very popular. I believe it was my second console. What number order was it for you guys?
It was third.
Third for you? How about you, Jose?
Which console?
The NES.
That was my first console.
That was your first? Okay.
Yeah, I think my dad got it for me and my brother in 87. And it came out, 85, but as a test market in Park, I think. But we didn't get it to like about 87.
Okay. It was the second console for me. My first console was the Atari 2600. I got the NES. I didn't get it on launch. I think I got it like mid-86. Yeah, because my dad had put it on layaway at the PX. Kevin, you know what that is, military.
Yes, I do. The military version of Walmart.
Yeah, man.
PX.
Yeah, so we had it on layaway. I think we had to pay like an additional 3%, but no tax, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's when that was my first console, was the NES. But I be honest with you, I did not own Darkwing as a kid, man.
Oh, same here. And before I got the NES, I believe we had the Atom computer, which can plays games. Then we got the 2600, and then the NES. I think we got the NES before the 7800. I can't remember which one. That's why I think it was third. But I also had the 7800 during that time. Then it was collecting dust once we started playing Nintendo games. So. But yeah, I didn't own Darkwing Duck as a child or when it came out as a teenager. First time I played Darkwing Duck was probably in my 20s.
What year did the game come out? Like 92, 93?
I believe it was 93. It was one of those late releases for the Nintendo.
Okay, so that's probably why we were already moved on, huh? To the Super Nintendo and all that.
I think I was already on to the Sega Genesis.
Now, this is kind of a little off topic. Did either one of you two own the Sega Master System?
No.
Yes. Oh, forgot about that one. Forgot about that. But it was funny, though. I owned the Sega Master System like when it was already like starting to close out at KB toy stores where they had for $50, where they had Alex Kidd and Miracle World packed in. So I didn't have the Master System during its life cycle. I had it basically when it was dead and buried.
Okay. Now, Jose, you said you got it around 87. What was the core of your NES library?
The main games was the pack-in Mario. I think let me see if I have a copy of it, which was the Mario Duck Hunt pack-in. And my mom got me Super Mario 3, which I still own. And I think like Tetris, Urban Champion. I remember having that. That's as far as I can remember. Those are I think Top Gun, not Top Gun. Spy Hunter.
Spy Hunter. Oh, I love that.
That was Spy Hunter. Only because we would play it at Chuck E. Cheese, so they always had a Spy Hunter at a Chuck E. Cheese. So I remember getting Spy Hunter. There weren't that many games that I had because they weren't cheap.
No, especially not for those days.
No,
I feel you, brother.
Funny thing is that my dad got me my dad went with my dad and got the Nintendo at what's the name of the I'm trying to remember the name of the store. It's not Zodi's. It wasn't Fedco. It was the other. There was another one of those memberships stores similar to Target, but it was more membership, kind of like a Fedco, but it wasn't Fedco. Gemco. You guys remember Gemco? I don't know if that was out in the East.
No, I don't remember that in the East.
Yeah, I never heard of that one.
There was a company called Gemco, there was Gemco and Fedco. So it was both kind of like a Target, Walmart, you know. And I remember getting the Nintendo from Gemco, and my mom got me Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, and Tetris, and I think she got them off Finger Hut. I don't know if you guys remember Finger Hut.
Yeah, Finger Hut.
I remember Finger Hut.
So
rip off the interest, high ass interest rates.
I think my mom finally paid off my Mario 3, so I'm good. So it's mine now.
She now pays it off.
They would mail you those packs, kind of like checkbooks, and every month you mail it out with a money order, and the money order would cost you like maybe what at that time maybe 10 cents, but the payments were like 25 cents, because that's how they would do it. They would break up the plan, so you'd mail out like $1 basically a month.
And you're paying that for like 10 years.
Yeah, so. That's what I'm saying. My Mario 3 finally got paid off last month, so I'm good now.
And that's what I was going to say. You're special because I know when I got the NES, I got it, and it was with it was Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
And then my parents bought me an extra game, and it was Karate Champ. And then I was like, I'm playing this like this is like amazing at that time.
Well, back then it was good.
Yeah, and then the next game I got was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I had that one too.
And it was frustrating for me because I didn't know how to get past the sewer level. And remember, there was no internet back then, so I couldn't look it up. There was no strategy guide. So, but yeah. And then after that, the games were so expensive. What my parents would do is, as long as I did all my chores during the week and I was good in school, they would let me rent 2 Nintendo games from a movie gallery or Blockbuster Video for the weekend. So that's how I was able to play most of the Nintendo games. They couldn't afford to buy a $60 game all the time.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. That's what my mom and dad would do, is that we'd go to a video rental store, like maybe 3-4 blocks from the house, and that's where I would go rent most of my video games. I mean, my mom and dad couldn't afford to pay these games. I mean, my mom was paying $1 a month for my games. You know, if I wanted another one, we'd have to go rent them. And you had to be there like Friday, literally right after school, because by the time you got to there, all the good games were all rented out. You know, all you had to do were the sports, maybe the sports games or maybe the puzzle games. Like I remember renting Pictionary because it was the only one that was there. I rented it and I started to play it. I'm like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play Pictionary. You know, I wanted to play like. There's only one game I could never rent, and I kind of wish I'm glad I never got to rent it, which was Total Recall. I heard it was not that great, so. Yeah. But at the time, I wanted to get it because I was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, and the movie had came out, and I wanted to get it. Never got it.
Never got it.
Never got it. Never got to rent it. Never got to play it. But I've seen the reviews, and I'm like, okay, good thing I didn't get to rent it. You know.
Yeah, I think for me, I had the basic games, you know, the Marios, the Zeldas, the Metroids, the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But outside of those common games, I think I was a big sports guy, like Tecmo Super Bowl, Double Dribble, Baseball Star. Those were like the games I had to have. I can't speak for you guys, but I know during that time, it was like if one kid in our neighborhood had the game, we all had it because we were trading, you know, borrowing and renting. You know, that was our way of renting, was we were trading and stuff amongst each other. So like if Jose got 5 games for Christmas, we all got it. You know, we just had to wait we had to wait a few weeks, so Jose got to try them out. And then you know, Jose be like, hey, Will, let me get that Punch-Out. You got to give me that Metroid, though. You know?
Yeah, we would trade. I remember trading games. My mom and dad didn't really like it because it's like, I pay $50 and now you just kind of, they would look at it as if we gave the game away. Like, no, he let me borrow this game, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's where they started writing your names on it because we were letting each other borrow it so much, you know? Like, then he was like, I think this is mine. No, my name is on the back, man. That's my game, you know?
Yeah. I had a name, my neighbor who was my friend, he happened to his parents were well off, and they actually had, I think, Apple II.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember playing some Disney game, computer game, and they had all the Transformer toys. They had all the DC superhero toys, all the Marvel, like they had everything. So when that Nintendo came out, they are the ones that had all the games. So I would have to go borrow from, or I would go play over at their house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had the Sega Master System, and I think they had, just the early consoles. So
Okay. Now, did you guys have a lot of? Well, okay. Well, let me reword this question. Would it been have better what you know now about the NES as far as blowing on the games and cleaning them and the 72-pin connector instead of what we had to go through back then?
to like blow into the cartridge and
Yeah, like
system.
putting other games on top of it and
Yeah, I mean,
Artifacts.
I remember having to go buy those cleaners.
mm-hmm.
They were not cheap. I mean, they're like what, $20, and it pretty much was like a little dispenser of which you open and you smelled it and it smelled like alcohol. That's all it was IPA.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably a diluted. It was probably diluted, but still, like I could have just got some IPA,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol with a Q-tip and cleaned it myself instead of having to blow into the cartridges and stuff.
Have you ever, Kevin, had to change the 72-pin connector?
Once, and that was just probably a few years ago.
Okay.
I was getting ready to sell an NES lot,
mm-hmm.
and I was testing it out. I couldn't get the games to work, even after blowing it and slipping the game just slightly and pressing it down, the
mm-hmm.
reset trick and all that. So I actually did change it out, and it was easy. It was
mm-hmm.
a very simple process. It was very easy. And once you do that, and it works like it's brand new.
Yeah, for me, it was really easy the first time I did it. The problem was, man, I think it was like 25 screws just to get to it, though.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like, it took a lot of screws to get to it, but it was like just an 8 to 10 minute process, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's really quick.
It's really quick. Yeah, just, a lot of screws and remembering where they go. So I was taking photos with my cell phone, like, okay, this one goes there, so I remember where everything went, but it was pretty easy, man.
Yeah, man, it was. I wish we knew about that back in the day.
All right. All right, so let's get a little bit into Darkwing. So I know we're going to have to bring up Mega Man. It's going to have to come up. There's just no way around it. Yeah, Jose, now, do you like the Darkwing NES game?
I've only played maybe like the first couple of minutes of it when I had it. I liked it. But it was more of like, well, let me just see if the game works. Because anytime I would buy it, and I think I bought it at PRGE, was it maybe 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think about 3 years ago. I just like, okay, I don't have it in my collection. I never got to play it. Let me pick it up because I think it was box. It's the one that you got actually.
Yeah.
The one that you bought me. So I got it. I got it home. I tested it, just to make sure it worked. Because
mm-hmm.
I didn't have an NES in Portland, so put it on, played it for a little bit. I'm like, all right, cool, it works. And then again, I just tested out all the games. So as long as the games will work, okay, cool. Then when I ever had time, I would try to play them, but I never really got a chance to play because I had so many games at the time, and that are just time period. You go to work, come home, you're tired. You got to run errands, make sure all your stuff's taken care of, and then you go, okay, I got an hour. Do I play or do I just go to sleep? Before I go to sleep, I'm like, I just go to sleep,
Yeah.
But yeah, I played it. I liked it. I think I might have it emulated somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have to go back to it or maybe watch a review of like what the gameplay is.
Okay. How about you, Kevin?
It was. I remember playing it. I beat the game. I remember getting all the way to the end and beating it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I didn't play it until I was in my 20s. And like, of course, in my 20s, we're already into the PlayStation, phase.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2. But the few things I remember stand out to me when I just do a quick run back of the game in my mind is, like you said, it reminds you of a Mega Man game. For people that haven't played Mega Man, check it out on YouTube. Mega Man is basically, it's almost like a side-scrolling platforming game where at the beginning of the game, basically you choose which level you want to start with. And it's the same thing with Darkwing Duck. You choose a level you want to start with, and then the objective of that level is to get to the end boss of that level and beat the boss, whatever weapons you want to use. But Darkwing Duck, it plays just like a Mega Man game. The only thing I think is different about it is Darkwing Duck, the jumping elements are different compared to Mega Man. In Darkwing Duck, there's a lot of jumping you have to do. If I recall, we have to hang on to a lot of structures, buildings. So I do remember that. I remember I used to get frustrated when I first played it, just trying to get used to jumping on everything and timing, shooting my gun, jumping to hit certain enemies and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, because he even gets a weapon from his gas gun and it shoots like an arrow, and you have to jump on that and climb on it. Yeah, so it does have a lot of platforming in it.
Was it the climbing kind of like a Bionic Commando, where you have to like shoot the grappling?
Yeah, that's a good example.
Bionic Commando. It reminds me of Bionic Commando, like a mix of Bionic Commando and Mega Man, and of course Capcom made Bionic Commando too.
Yeah, so they probably, and Darkwing.
So they probably use the resources from each one to kind of make one game, because he does have a grappling hook, right? His gas gun.
Now
it's just. Oh, go ahead, Will.
No, go ahead, Kevin.
No, it was just it's like it was kind of strange because when I first trying to find a game, play it, the game was hovering about $50 to $60 at that time. I'm like, why is it hovering for that much? That's when I found out it was a late release. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, I played DuckTales, I played Chip and Dale, I played the other one, Tailspin. I'm like, okay, I know what these Disney games are about. This one shouldn't be that hard. Darkwing Duck is not a kid-friendly game. It is hard.
It's not. It's hard.
It's hard. It's the hardest Disney game on NES.
Yeah.
No,
I was just gonna say I'm gonna get back to that difficulty in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you play it, don't expect it to be like Chip and Dale or DuckTales. Even though DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale 2, the difficulty was increased a little bit. Darkwing Duck got it beat.
As far as the difficulty, if you have an NES Mini, so that means you have save states, and the Disney Afternoon on the digital version, it has a rewind function where if you die, you can actually hit the rewind button a little bit and go back a little further where you were. So those are, I guess, ways that has made the game a little easier, so you can keep trying. You don't have to start the stage all over again. Yeah, but if you're playing on the old school NES version, well, you better have some patience.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Will. I forgot that you can play it on the Xbox One or PS4, the Disney Sunday Afternoon, Disney Afternoon Collection. They have that release. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, and it has that rewind function on the PS4 and the Xbox. Yeah, so that definitely helps. And I think that Disney Afternoon Collection benefits people who don't want to pay for the physical copy of DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale 2. So because they're on there, and then you got them all for less than $20 right now, man.
Yeah, I think it's $20 for everything. It was just a great deal, great deal.
What comes with that Disney Afternoon? Is it Tailspin or
Tailspin's on there? DuckTales 1 and 2, Chip and Dale 1 and 2, and Darkwing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's a good deal.
It's a good deal, really good deal. It's just DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale alone. Chip and Dale's 2 alone makes it worth the deal, you know.
Yeah, Chip and Dale's 2 is it's up there now. It's like 100 and something now.
Chip and Dale 2 usually hovers around 200.
Ooh,
150, 200. 150, 200. DuckTales 2, you get 100, 125. But I'm sure during COVID, those prices are probably off. It's probably much more than that right now.
Okay, now since we brought up Mega Man, I do see like a huge percentage of the fans who love the Darkwing NES game. They like it because it has that Mega Man engine in it. But then I do see the few who hate it because they feel it's a Mega Man clone. Do you feel that hurts the game, or do you think that helps the game because Capcom played it safe by using the Mega Man engine?
I guess it all depends on the target audience. I thought it hurts the game if you're a kid. At that time when it was released in 93 or 92, for it to come out with the Disney logo on it, and then you play DuckTales and other games that are kid-friendly and not that hard, I think it hurts it. For gamers like you and I appreciate it because Mega Man, it's a great game, and I love a challenge. So for you and I, we would appreciate that. But I think the target audience they were going for, which Darkwing Duck's a kid-friendly game, I don't think it reached that audience the way they wanted to, and that's why I think the game holds value now. And it's one of those games that it's not rare, but it's always one of those games that's tough to find.
Now, Jose, you haven't. How about you, Jose? What do you think? Do you think it helps or hurts it that it used the Mega Man engine?
I mean, it probably should. And me, I would think it would help. It should help. I mean, I can't. I have no real solid opinion on it, but I think it would be more helpful. I mean, if you already know Mega Man and you know
Mm-hmm.
how it works, this should help you, as you play it. And I'm sure it's probably more cost effective for Capcom to use an engine that's already there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to like make a new one just for gameplay. And like I said, I've seen some gameplay right real quick, and it does have that Bionic Commando type thing too with the grappling.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think it would help it. I mean, it's just like Kevin said, it just depends on what your audience you're trying to target to.
Okay.
For Disney, I mean, the thing is with Disney, it would be more for like Disney fans, more Darkwing Duck fans.
Mm-hmm.
But those that are Mega Man fans, they look at all that just a rip off of the Mega Man game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it'd be more helpful. I guess it's a known engine. Why why make something that why how do you say why reinvent the wheel? Just if it works, just go with it.
Yeah, I think for me it worked because like Kevin said, I was a huge Mega Man fan. So going through the stage, side scrolling, the jumping, knowing what to expect, it made it easier, made it familiar with me too. So I think for me it was something safe and something I already enjoyed. So and now I get the sprite of characters I already enjoy.
Yeah.
That I see it from the cartoons. And then what do you guys think about the music? Jose, I know you said you didn't play it much, but I know amongst NES fans, the music is really popular for the game.
Like I said, I didn't get to play for much. I'm sure it's good. I don't know. I can't answer on that one.
Okay, how about you, Kevin?
The music is good. It's one of those games that you can be playing and you can catch yourself to stop playing and listening to music. It's funny you mentioned that because if you I think if you go on YouTube and look up Darkwing Duck, I think like number 5, probably the number 5 thing you see on the list under Darkwing Ducks is the original soundtrack being searched. So people find the soundtrack and just listen to it. It was very well done, the music, and it fit every stage.
Yeah, if you search on YouTube Darkwing Duck NES theme or something like that, you will see a lot of covers. A lot of people playing it with their guitars, pianos. Oh, wow. There's a lot of them, man.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, people playing it with their keyboards, acoustic, all that kind of stuff, man. It's crazy, man. I guess the music was really, really popular, man.
It was good. It was I remember playing it back in the day. It was well done.
Mm-hmm. Not quite DuckTales Moon theme, but
no, nothing will beat that. Nothing will beat that. That thing still trips me out. That's just wow.
What's crazy? I'm going off topic here. That DuckTales Moon theme, I loved it as a kid, but I had no idea that it was just global. That everybody loved it. I had no idea. Yeah. Without the power of the internet, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah,
stuff,
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. But yeah, that thing was man. Yeah, good old Capcom back in the day, man. But going back to the game, what's funny about the game is when I remember playing it back in the day, the level designs were the way they designed the levels was really good. It was hard, but it was really good. Mm-hmm. But then when you get to the bosses were very easy in the game.
Yeah.
It was just the levels were just hard. Getting to the boss was hard, but the bosses were very easy, if I remember.
Yeah, I think if you probably died the first time you played each boss, but then you were like, oh man, once you got that pattern down, it was so easy. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely easy.
I was watching a little gameplay and I could see the level designs were very Mega Man.
Yeah, it's very Mega Man, dude.
Yes. Yeah, even like the traditional Capcom I remember when you drop down, I think it's I forgot what level it is, a night level where you're the night level of the beams, I think it is, and
I saw
you drop down to the next screen and
you slow down.
You're doing that pause, Mega Man pause before you get to the level.
I used to love that. I used to love that pause, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, if the technology could have screenshotted back then, I would have been taking that to school. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The thing with Mega Man though, it was kind of figuring out the pattern of which boss to go to which. where Darkwing, you don't really have that,
So there you don't get like a weapon of the enemy of the boss, nothing like that.
Nah, you don't get that on Darkwing. Yeah, with Mega Man, it was kind of like figuring out the pattern. Like, okay, Snake Man will kill this guy. Magnet will kill this or whatever.
Yeah, I remember going to my friend's house, and I think he had Mega Man 3. And I remember was it Mega Man 3 was the slide, right? That's when they implemented the slide mechanic.
Yeah.
And I remember him playing it, and he would always have games. The mom worked, and I guess she made good enough money to where they would buy him games, even though I think his grandparents would buy him games. And I would go over, and he'd have like at least 15, 20 games, and he'd like, oh, let's play Mega Man, let's play Contra. But it was always those one-player games that I would just pretty much just sit there and watch him play. And he'd be like, oh, when I die, you can play, but he wouldn't die. So by the time I was like, all right, it's dark, I got to go home. I was like, oh, okay, well, come back, next week or come back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there's not much more to say about Darkwing. We'll bring up the Game Boy in just a second. Jose, now, what is your NES library looking like these days?
It's slim to none, really, because I pretty much got rid of it. I think I only have like 3 games.
Oh, that's it?
Which is, physically only 3 games. I got the Super Mario Bros. 3, the Mario, Super Mario and Duck Hunt, and then Final Fantasy. That's all I got left.
Oh,
but I do have the mini, but I have the mini modded already, so it has everything else in it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Physically, I only got 3 games, but technically, I got all of the NES games on it. So,
okay.
But that's just on the mini. That's pretty much what I did. Is that as soon as the minis came out and then we're able to get modded, I got them modded, and I'm like, well, if I have it modded, I don't need to open up the box, take out the game, put it into the system. I can just turn on, basically plug and play. Yeah. So that's I got rid of it. I mean, it's save space. Have money in the pocket don't hurt. And I'm like, let me get rid of it. I had my fun with it. I mean, the games are still out there. It's just a matter of time. Like, maybe I'll go to a thrift, and if I find something, all right, cool, I'll pick them up.
How about you, Kevin? What's your NES library looking like these days?
Probably a little under 500 games.
Ooh,
yeah, I still I've cut back a lot of I got rid of a lot of fillers, a lot of games that I knew I would never play again, and I still probably have a bunch of games that are just sitting there collecting dust that I'll never play again. I don't know. I still like I said, I don't go out and collect old school games anymore. I just buy, I play the current gen, the PS4, Xbox One, Switch stuff, but I still like going in my game room and seeing all the games I collected over the years and decades, and I love picking up a Nintendo game, looking at it, and you look at a game and it brings back memories. So I picked this up at a flea market, or I picked this up in Portland, and every game has a story. So that's why I think it's hard for me to get rid of my games or reduce my collection. But I got probably a little over 500 games.
Oh wow! And what's the most expensive game you have in your NES collection?
Wow. I would say the most expensive game that I still have is probably Bubble Bobble 2.
Ooh, yeah, that was up there in price.
It's probably expensive. I used to have Samson.
Ooh,
but then I sold it to Oscar. The guy that was in the Turbo video y'all will see. But I sold it to him because he really wanted it. And Samson, I played it, beat it, but Bubble Bobble 2 is probably the rarest. And then after that, Dragon Fighter, and what else? And Power Blade 2. That's it. Power Blade 2. Power Blade 2 is the rarest.
Bonks wasn't up there or no?
I don't have Bonk. Remember, I had Bonks and then I sold it. Sold it to either Oscar or somebody.
Jose, didn't you have Power Blade at one time?
I think I had Power Blade and Power Blade. I don't think I had Power Blade 2.
Okay, because I remember I saw you posted on Facebook a couple of years ago. I saw a Power Blade up on there.
Yeah, I had Power Blade. I forgot how I got it, actually. I might have got it from Oscar.
Okay.
Either Oscar or David, or maybe even Kevin. It was one that was like like sun damage. Like the cart wasn't gray anymore. It was like
I think I sold it to you. I think it was an extra copy that I found. The first copy that I got, and like I said, every game has a story. The first copy I got, Power Blade 2, I got it in 2011. And I got it in 2011 in October. And this was the first time I went to Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Oh,
and I got it.
That's when you told us, y'all got to come. Y'all missing out.
And I told them, I said, hey, y'all got to come. And they kept like, we'll go. I said, you know what? I just flew out there by myself. I stayed at the hotel near the airport. I didn't know what was going on at that time. I went to the convention, and it had Power Blade 2 for only $250 during that time.
Okay.
So I was like, let me pick it up now. You look at the game. That game's probably like $500 right now. But I remember getting it from the convention there at that time.
Remember Oscar found it at Goodwill for like $2.99 or something, or $5 or something.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he recorded. Well, he recreated how he found it. He put it up on YouTube, and I guess he just walked in, and I guess he went towards the back where you would normally find the game stuff, and he saw a stack of games, so he started going through it, and it was like all the games were pretty much sequels. So whatever sequel came out at that time, that's what was there. And then one of them was Power Blade 2. So, and he knew at the time it was a pretty expensive game too, so he bought it right away. So
okay, I would say my NES library is probably only at like 30 games now. It was probably at the most I ever had was probably like 140. But like you, Jose, once that NES Mini came out and I modded it, I started getting rid of them, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's still. I mean, you're gonna play it. I mean, and then of course the shelf space. I mean, games take up a lot of space, and if you don't have the luxury of having a game room, then you gotta make some room.
Yeah.
No, I hear you on that. Like my game room is basically, I have in my garage. You have a 2-car garage, and then you have like a room in the back of the garage that can fit another car. I basically made that a wall. We put up a drywall there and a door, and then my game room is in the back of the garage.
Yeah,
so everything's in there, all the game and stuff. So if I had to keep that stuff in the house, I'd be just like you guys, and I'd have to sell majority of it. Because I'm not gonna have games overtake my living room. My bonus. That's just too much then.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I would say the most expensive game I ever owned was probably DuckTales 2. I was never gonna go for Flintstones at Dinosaur Peak, Little Samson, Nintendo World Championships. What's another one? Stadium Event. Yeah,
I think that's the most expensive round.
Yeah, I was never gonna go for those.
The world carts are insane, but I always told myself I would never pay that much money for a game. If a game costs as much as a mortgage payment, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, and then, it might cost more than DuckTales 2. I did have that Tecmo Cup Soccer, the soccer one for Tecmo. The one that's like an RPG.
Tecmo World Cup Soccer. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes for about right now. I think about 60 to 80. It might have dropped, but I remember now 60 to 80.
I think I found that at that one game store out in the desert. Remember, Kevin, that one we went to?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's where I found it, and I think I got it for like $5 or something. Only because, right? Was it $5? I don't remember.
It was cheap. It was cheap. I remember it was either $5 or $10.
Yeah, every time we'd go out to Vegas, we would always stop by these two. There's these two game stores out literally out in the desert, and they would have stuff in the back room that was like, why is this back here? Because you would see their floor, and it's like you would see nothing but like just common stuff, stuff that nobody really buys. But you would go into the back, and the back room was where everything was. Like all the good stuff was back there. And I'm like, why is it all back here? And we didn't say nothing. We were just all, let me just get these ones. And they're like, yeah, go ahead, get them. We could literally record one of those episodes where it's kind of like barnyard finds, where you'd find, what did you find, Kevin? Remember you looked up on the very top, and there was like a bunch of stuff up there you couldn't really tell. You got on the ladder, like, oh shit, there's this, there's this.
So many rare games we found, just
and they were still priced at like maybe early 2000 prices. So even maybe late 90 prices, where they still had them for like $10, $20, and you're like, that's like an $80 game, and it's $10. So you just grab it like, oh, I think I'll take this, and they're like, okay. And then next thing you know, you like, what it comes out to a certain price, and you make a deal like, yeah, well, we can drop the price on it. Okay, cool.
Now, I don't want to talk too much about the Game Boy game of Darkwing. Matter of fact, I don't want to talk about the game at all because it's pretty much a 95% clone.
Yes.
It's really only a 5% difference. Like the boss Quackerjack, in the NES version, he has 4 stories, and then in the Game Boy, there's only like 2 or 3 stories.
2, yeah.
To jump up and down. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same thing. So what I guess I want to ask you guys, I'm gonna start with you, Kevin, this time. When did you first get a Game Boy?
Wow. Whew. The first time I got a Game Boy was about 90, I think it's probably about 98. And of course it was already, other things out, the Turbo Express, Game Gear, Game Gear and all that stuff, but I didn't get a Game Boy till late. And a Darkwing Duck was one of the few games I played on it. All the Disney games, like you were saying, it's basically a direct clone. But I remember the only issue I have with Game Boy is that I can only play it during certain times. I have to have light on because, I couldn't really see the screen unless I was in a certain environment. But the Game Boy, for the library that it has and the amount of games it has, it was an amazing system.
How about you, Jose? When did you first get a Game Boy?
I'm trying to recall. I know we owned a Game Boy, and I remember having just Tetris. There wasn't many rental stores that would rent Game Boy games. Well, as far as the Game Boy, I know that we got it. I don't remember when we got it. It was for me and my brother, and I think we got Tetris, maybe Super Mario Land. And I think that's about it. Everything else, as far as games, like maybe like Battletoads or something, we'd borrow from my friends. And then as years went by, we got the Game Boy Color from my sisters and stuff. So they were the ones that got the Pokemon game. So that's as far as I can remember as right now. Yeah.
Okay, I think Tetris was the pack-in game.
Yeah, that was the pack-in game. Yeah, and I remember getting like Super Mario Land.
Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah, I remember I got the Game Boy at launch. Luckily, I had an older brother, so we were both begging for it. We were both begging for it. And, my dad said, I'll get one. Y'all better not be fighting over it. Y'all better be fair. If not, I'm going to take it away. So like me and my brother would put timers, the old school, like cooking timers, you got 1 hour, so, but we had a few games. We had the Tetris, of course, the Mario Land. I can't really remember anything else though. I think Metroid was on there.
Yeah, Metroid.
Return of Samus.
Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Yeah, great game.
We had one of the Final Fantasies, but we never played it. We were just not into RPGs, man. Me and my brother, we were just
hard to play on that system.
Yeah,
they had quite a few remakes, but it's hard to play.
Back then, though, Kevin, I didn't complain about the lighting because that's all we had. Technology wasn't there yet. So I love that Game Boy, but it was a battery eater. I never got to play it though with somebody where you had to hook up the auxiliary cable and play 2 players.
The link, yeah.
Because at that time I didn't know anybody else who had one. It just didn't happen until we came back to the States, man. So
yeah. The issue for me is lighting was that it was easy to play during the day, but when you're trying to sneak that game in at night, and your parents say turn off everything, you're still trying to play it. It just you can't.
That's when they came out. That's when they came out with all those little accessories, that lamp thing, and that big old
the newbie light thing, big magnifying with a light.
But then they have that big ass clamshell that went around it, just to have a lighting on it.
Yeah.
So that was the only issue.
Okay, so Kevin and Jose, which Game Boy do y'all recommend to people who are out there looking for a Game Boy?
I would say that maybe the Game Boy SP 101.
SP?
The SP 101, it allows you to play, the original Game Boys. It allows you to play Game Boy Color and also Game Boy Advance. And then the 101, so that's the backlit one, right? What's it called? ASP 101, I think.
Yep, that's it. That's the one you want.
That's the one you want.
Has the backlit display. Battery life is good. It plays all original Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance. So it plays everything. The only issue is that Now you're gonna probably have to pay $100 to $120 for a good one without any issues with it, no scratches on the screen, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard though.
I got
They
one.
were mostly
that's why
they're mostly kid owned.
120 now, so
I'm surprised that's how much they're going for, honestly.
Oh yeah, they're going up there. I know when we were at Portland, when we sold in 2019, I had quite a few, and I just put 60 on them, and they sold just like that.
I got one for 30. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, I sold 30, half off. I slapped 50% for you. But then we sold for 60%, they were gone.
Yeah, I remember selling. I think I was selling them for around 40, but they were not the 101s. They were the 001s, and I had them at 40, and people were still buying them up. And I remember going down the aisle, and I remember specifically seeing a booth that used those, those shoe racks, those clear shoe racks. They would have a bunch of them in there, but they all had them for like $80. I'm like, man, and I felt bad charging $40 because I would always find them at Savers or thrift stores for like $15, $10, $9.99. You know, and I would clean them up, make sure they worked, and then sometimes if maybe the battery was no good, I would buy a replacement battery for them, replace the batteries, get them up and running, and I'm like, man, what should I charge for these things? I go, I only put maybe $5 or whatever the battery costs, and cleaning, that's nothing. And I felt bad charging $40 for them. And I would maybe charge 45, maybe 50 with it if I happen to have the charger for them. But then I go down there and I see people selling for $80 and $80. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, I know I had one gripe with the one that Kevin sold me, but it was you couldn't plug the headphones up to it. And then I went on Amazon, and because Kevin told me, oh, you have to get the adapter for it, to plug the headphones. I went on Amazon. It was like $4 for 2 adapters. I was like, oh man. So my gripe went away once I found out how cheap it was to get the adapter.
Yeah, that's the only issue. You're right. I forgot about that. The headphones. That's the only issue you have with those.
Yeah, that was my only gripe. But once I got on Amazon and Kevin told me, yeah, you just got to get the adapter, gripe was gone, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the NES and Game Boy of Darkwing. You guys tune in for our next episode. I believe we're going to have an interview with Jim Peterson, the writer of Beauty and the Beat. He's the creator of the villain Bushroot. So you guys stay in tune for that. So we're going to talk all about Bushroot on our next episode of the podcast. Again, Kevin and Jose, thank you guys so much, man. You guys want to plug yourselves or anything?
No,
I appreciate Will, you taking your time and putting us on here and talking about what I love, video games. I appreciate it, brother.
Oh yeah, man. We got to meet up outside of my podcast and talk video games, man.
No doubt.
All right.
2021 PRGE if it goes down. We'll be there. Yeah. We'll probably still get a booth, but we're not going to sell anything. We're just going to kick back and just shoot the shit.
Jose will be asleep under the table like normal. All right, you guys, stay dangerous.